Los Angeles, 1970. Late afternoon. A private training studio near downtown. Thick gray clouds filtered the sunlight through tall windows. The air inside smelled of wood polish and sweat. No cameras. No spectators. Just silence and the faint hum of traffic outside. Bruce Lee stood alone in the center of the room. 5'7". 140 pounds. Black pants. White t-shirt. Barefoot. His hands rested at his sides. His breathing was calm. Controlled. There was no tension in his posture. No aggression. Just presence. He had been invited here by a group that questioned everything he represented. They had heard the stories. The demonstrations. The philosophy lectures. The claims about adaptability and fluidity overcoming brute strength. And they did not believe any of it. They wanted proof. The door opened. 5 men entered. 3 were U.S. Army hand-to-hand combat instructors. 1 was a decorated Marine drill sergeant. The last was a professional boxer who had trained with Muhammad Ali's camp. Each man carried decades of combat experience. Each believed that real power came from size, discipline, and rigid technique. They were not here to learn. They were here to expose. Bruce Lee bowed slightly. A gesture of respect. The men did not return it. The boxer stepped forward first. 6'2". Broad shoulders. Thick arms. He looked down at Bruce Lee with the calm superiority of someone who had knocked men unconscious for a living. "I've seen your movies," the boxer said. His voice was flat. Matter of fact. Flashy. Athletic. But that's not a real fight. That's choreography. Bruce Lee did not respond immediately. He simply watched. His eyes steady. Observing. Not with hostility. With curiosity. "Muhammad Ali trained me for 3 years," the boxer continued. "He taught me footwork. Timing. Power generation from the core. You talk about water and adaptability. But in a real fight, structure beats chaos. Discipline beats improvisation. Always." One of the army instructors nodded. He was older. Graying hair. Scars on his knuckles. He had trained soldiers for close-quarters combat in Vietnam. He had seen men die because they hesitated. Because they tried to be clever instead of direct. "We teach our men to rely on proven technique," the instructor said. "Repetition until it becomes reflex. You can't adapt in a real fight. You don't have time. You execute what you've drilled 1,000 times." The Marine sergeant crossed his arms. "We've heard you say there's no one style. No fixed form. That sounds nice in theory. But every effective fighting system in history was built on structure. On rules. On discipline." Bruce Lee let the silence return. He did not argue. Did not defend. He simply asked a question. "If structure is absolute," he said quietly, "then why does water break stone?" The boxer frowned. "That's metaphor. Not reality." "Is it?" Bruce Lee walked slowly across the room. His movements were unhurried. Effortless. He picked up a wooden chair. Solid oak. Heavy. He placed it in the center of the space. "This chair has structure," Bruce Lee said. 4 legs. A seat. A backrest. It knows exactly what it is. It never changes. That is its strength. But it is also its limitation." He gestured toward the chair. "If I try to sit on it upside down, it fails. If I try to carry water in it, it fails. If I lean it against a wall incorrectly, it collapses. Structure demands the world conform to it. When the world does not, structure breaks." He stepped away from the chair. Water has no structure. It conforms to the world. It flows around obstacles. It fills every space it enters. It cannot be broken because it refuses to be rigid. The army instructor shook his head. Philosophy doesn't win fights. Speed and power do. Then test it, Bruce Lee said. There was no challenge in his voice. No arrogance. Just an invitation. The boxer stepped forward first. He raised his fists into a classic boxing stance. Hands high. Elbows tight. Weight balanced. Textbook perfect. Show me this adaptability, the boxer said. Bruce Lee did not raise his hands. He stood in a neutral stance. Relaxed. His lead foot slightly forward. His rear heel lifted. No guard. No tension. The boxer feinted a jab. Bruce Lee did not react. The boxer feinted again. Still nothing. Then the boxer committed. A sharp left jab aimed at Bruce Lee's face. Fast. Precise. The kind of punch that had won amateur tournaments. Bruce Lee moved. Not backward. Not to the side. Forward. His head tilted just 2 inches. The jab passed through empty air. And in the same instant, Bruce Lee's hand touched the boxer's extended wrist. Not a strike. A light tap. A redirect. The boxer's balance shifted. His weight rolled forward. He tried to recover, but Bruce Lee was already gone. The boxer reset. Frustrated. He threw a combination. Jab. Cross. Hook. All delivered with proper form. Proper timing. Bruce Lee moved like smoke. Every punch landed where he had been a fraction of a second earlier. He did not block. Did not parry. He simply was not there. And each time the boxer committed, Bruce Lee's hand appeared. A touch on the shoulder. A tap on the ribs. A brush against the back of the neck. Not strikes. Reminders. The boxer stopped. Breathing hard. Not from exhaustion. From confusion. You're not fighting, the boxer said. No, Bruce Lee replied. I am responding. You are fighting. You are committed to your structure. To your combinations. To your expectations. I am only reacting to what you give me. One of the army instructors stepped forward. Older. More experienced. He did not box. He moved like a wrestler. Low stance. Heavy pressure. Let's see how you respond to force, the instructor said. He lunged. A fast, powerful grab aimed at Bruce Lee's shoulders. The kind of grip that would pin a man against a wall. But Bruce Lee's shoulder was no longer there. He turned. Subtle. Minimal. The instructor's hands closed on air. Bruce Lee stepped to the outside. His foot swept lightly behind the instructor's ankle. Not a kick. A suggestion. The instructor's momentum carried him forward. He stumbled. Caught himself. Turned. Bruce Lee had not moved more than 3 steps. The instructor tried again. This time he feinted the grab. Dropped low. Went for the legs. A takedown attempt. Clean. Technical. The kind taught in every military combative's course. Bruce Lee's knee came up. Not hard. Just enough. It met the instructor's shoulder. The angle was perfect. The instructor's dive stopped cold. His body folded. He rolled to the side. Stood up. Shook his head. You knew what I was going to do, the instructor said. No, Bruce Lee said. You told me what you were going to do. Your weight shifted. Your eyes dropped. Your breath changed. You committed to one technique before you began it. That is structure. Structure is predictable. The Marine sergeant stepped forward. He was younger. Stronger. He did not try to grab or box. He simply threw a straight punch. No setup. No warning. Pure aggression. Bruce Lee's arm rose. His forearm intercepted the punch at the wrist. Not a hard block. Just a touch. A deflection. The Marine's fist passed an inch to the left of Bruce Lee's face. And in that same moment, Bruce Lee's other hand touched the Marine's chest. A light push. Barely any force. But the Marine stumbled backward. Off balance. He steadied himself. Looked down at his own feet. Confused. How? You expected resistance, Bruce Lee said. So you pushed hard. I gave you emptiness. Your force had nowhere to go. So it went backward. The men stood in silence. They had not been beaten. Not in the traditional sense. No one had been knocked out. No one had been injured. But something deeper had happened. Every technique they trusted. Every principle they had built their lives around. All of it had been rendered irrelevant. Not because Bruce Lee was faster. Not because he was stronger. But because he refused to meet force with force. He refused to play by the rules they expected. The boxer spoke first. His voice was quieter now. Less certain. You said water breaks stone. But water takes 1,000 years. A fight takes seconds. Bruce Lee nodded. True. But a river does not break stone by being a river. It breaks stone by never stopping. It does not attack. It simply moves. And one day, the stone is gone. He gestured to the chair still sitting in the center of the room. You all fight like this chair. You are strong. You are stable. But you only work when the world fits your shape. When it does not, you break. He walked to the window. Looked out at the city. I fight like the space around the chair. I have no shape. No fixed form. You cannot break what refuses to be solid. You cannot predict what refuses to repeat. The army instructor stepped forward. His expression had changed. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something else. Respect. Or perhaps doubt. If there's no structure, the instructor asked, then what is there to teach? What is there to train? Bruce Lee turned. You train awareness. You train to see without expectation. To move without thought. To respond without decision. You do not train techniques. You train the ability to find the technique the moment demands. He paused. That is Jeet Kune Do. The way of no way. The technique of no technique. The boxer shook his head slowly. Not in disagreement. In disbelief. You're saying we've been training wrong our entire lives? No, Bruce Lee said. You have been training for one kind of fight. The kind where both people agree to the rules. But most fights do not have rules. Most conflicts do not wait for you to be ready. Life does not conform to your training. So your training must learn to conform to life. The men looked at each other. No one spoke. The room felt heavier now. Not with tension. With realization. One of the army instructors finally broke the silence. You didn't hurt any of us. Why? Bruce Lee smiled. Small. Subtle. Because you did not come here to hurt me. You came here to prove something. I had nothing to prove. So I had no reason to hurt you. The Marine sergeant exhaled. He extended his hand. Bruce Lee took it. I'm not sure I understand what you just did, the Marine said. But I know I've never felt that helpless in my life. The others nodded. One by one, they shook Bruce Lee's hand. There was no shame in their faces. Only the quiet acceptance of men who had encountered something they could not explain. As they left, the boxer stopped at the door. He turned back. "Ali would have destroyed you in a ring," he said. "You know that, right?" Bruce Lee nodded. "In a boxing ring, with boxing rules, absolutely. Ali is the greatest boxer who ever lived. But I am not a boxer. I do not fight in rings. I fight in the space between what you expect and what actually happens." The boxer considered this. Then he nodded. And left. Bruce Lee stood alone again. The room was silent. The light through the windows had dimmed. Evening was coming. He walked to the wooden chair. Picked it up. Placed it back against the wall. Then he returned to the center of the room. Closed his eyes. And breathed. He did not think about the challenge. Or the men. Or what had just happened. He simply existed. Present. Fluid. Shapeless. Because that was the lesson. Not in the 10 seconds of movement. But in the lifetime of practice that made those 10 seconds possible. Years later, one of the army instructors would tell the story. He would describe it not as a fight, but as a teaching. A demonstration of a truth he had refused to see. "We thought martial arts was about learning to fight," the instructor would say. "Bruce Lee taught us that martial arts is about learning to stop fighting. To move so efficiently that violence becomes unnecessary." He would pause. Then add one final thought. "We went there to break him. But he didn't resist. So there was nothing to break." That was the day I understood what he meant by water. Water doesn't win by being stronger. It wins by being willing to lose shape. And somewhere in that story, buried beneath the myth and the memory, there was a deeper truth. Bruce Lee did not defeat those men in 10 seconds. He defeated the idea they carried. The belief that strength was found in rigidity. That power came from controlling the world around you. He showed them something older. Something quieter. Something most people never see. That true strength is not found in what you can do, but in what you no longer need to do. That mastery is not domination. It is harmony. That the fighter who wins is not the one who breaks his opponent, but the one who makes fighting unnecessary. Be water. Not because water is invincible, but because water never tries to be anything other than itself. And in that refusal to be rigid, it becomes unstoppable.